Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. We're like a book club for people who hate reading. This week we're doing the movie Trainspotting, made in 1996, and we bring you movie news at the end of the program. This week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, Ryan Tatas, Preston, and Jeff Michael. Ryan, what's the synopsis of this movie?
Okay, synopsis for IMDb is Trainspotting 1996. Renton, deeply immersed in the Edinburgh drug scene, tries to clean up and get out despite the allure of drugs and influence of his friends.
So, who wants to go first?
Well, I've seen it. Ryan's seen it before.
Has anybody not?
Jeffy's seen it.
Yeah, this is one I've never seen.
Johnny hasn't seen
shit.
it.
I was going to say,
Why
I
were you
kind of
asking?
I've been interested to see what you thought of it, considering you haven't seen it.
You know, actually, I got to mention that, the past few movies that we've done,
drug movies, basically.
drug movies and even Stand By Me, John hasn't seen them yet.
Well, Stand By
Yeah.
Me,
Really?
I don't remember, so...
I can't believe you never saw Stand By Me.
Anyway,
Okay.
but
Okay.
I just find it interesting that we've been hitting
Right.
movies that John's like the odd man out on.
That's
seeing.
good, though.
It is.
I'd rather be the odd man out. That wouldn't. There's
We'll
film I
work on
need
that.
to see.
See, I just don't... Well, I remember everybody reading about it, people saying how disturbing this movie was.
Really?
There was not any scene in here that made me go, oh, that's disturbing. Even the scene with a dead baby was like, eh. I've seen
No,
worse.
it was just showing a point.
Wait, you
It
just don't
wasn't-
give a
yeah.
crap about dead babies? Is that what you just said? Audience members,
Wow.
we apologize for John.
Serious.
But there was nothing in this movie that was disturbing. This movie was actually
John doesn't
pretty
care
funny.
about dead babies.
No.
That's evident.
It's a dead baby. Eh.
Like,
Yeah.
like everybody I
Eh.
remember was saying crap about the diarrhea scene.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, when he
Yeah, that
climbed
was-
into
that
the
was
toilet.
hysterical.
I actually thought that
No,
was
or the one
funny.
where he flicks the shades
Yeah.
at everybody.
Oh.
Yeah, see, I didn't think any of that was horrible. I just the
It was
scene-
comical.
Oh, it was comical. The scene where he went into the toilet, I thought was well done. And if you
That
notice,
was my favorite scene.
Yeah, that was
and
actually
if
pretty
you
good
notice,
scene.
they only did scenes like that when it involved actual drug use, like the scene where he was being sucked up by the floor when he overdosed.
Yeah.
To me, a huge part of this movie was the not only the colors were awesome and amazing in this movie, and then same as
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
was gonna
steal
say,
that
stole
from you,
that,
John. The dialogue
Yeah.
is just absolutely. I read the books before I'd even seen the movies or even knew they existed.
Really?
Yeah, and
Oh shit.
I was gonna say you're a
Irving Welsh was actually, the guy that sold him the suppositories
Yeah.
in the movie. That's the writer to that's
No
Irving
kidding.
Welsh. Yeah,
He looks like
Really?
a writer.
yeah, he totally is.
I love you're right about the color though. If you notice, anything involving drugs was really like a hyper
Vibrant.
and everything else was kind of Edinburgh.
Dull.
Well, because the whole movie was perspective.
Yeah.
It was this day in the life of drug users. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And for good and bad.
I was gonna say the one thing in this movie, Johnny Lee Miller always seemed like a giant buzzkill in this movie. Because if you notice, he's always talking about, well, this Bond was better because of this and this and this. He just seemed like one of these guys that would kill your buzz if you were next to him.
At the
Yeah.
same time,
Yeah.
he did make one of my favorite quotes in the movie when they were sitting there, and they were shooting at the dog or whatever in the park.
Yeah.
He made one point. He went off to make this
The
point.
vegetarian one?
And he goes off to make a point to Renton, and Renton's like, "So we're all just get old and can't hack it anymore, and that's what it is." And he looks at him and he goes, "Well, yeah." And he goes, "So what's your point?" And he goes, "Well, that was my point, but beautifully fucking illustrated." And it was just
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay. I mean, the guy
Okay,
could talk circles, but at the same, because he's kind of the salesman guy. I mean, if you've
Yeah.
read any of
Yeah.
the other books, he was kind of the sleazy guy that would get into any kind of operation he could to
Make a buck or
That-
Right.
get drugs, yeah.
I loved was it Ian McGregor's comment about being Scottish? That whole bit.
Oh,
was
with the
hilarious.
lowest of the low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That was
Uh,
love that.
really well done.
We can't even find. We're the lowest of the low. We can't even find a decent colony to be colonized by. We're colonized by wankers.
Right.
a good decent culture. Yeah,
That was a good quote, too.
Yeah. The funny thing is, the one was says the list of drugs they took. It was 16 individual drugs that they
yeah.
took, stole, injected, snorted, or took anally.
Yeah.
But you know what, though? I mean, that's realistic. Once you're doing one drug, it doesn't really matter. Other drugs come around.
Exactly.
It's just like,
Oh, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That was
Right.
That was one of the things
Yeah,
back
well,
when I used to do it.
that's
Is there was a vast amount of drugs. It was easier to list the ones I hadn't done.
Right.
Because there was like
Yeah.
4. You know?
Yeah, you'd start getting into the weird designer drugs after what they
Yeah.
did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I thought
I like that because what's her name? Diane was it? Yeah, Diane
Yeah,
Kelly
yeah.
MacDonald. She points that out. You know, like this new generation coming up, and that's where he gets. That's when he moves to London
Right.
type thing. Is you're basically stuck in a rut. Everything new is coming out, and you're not even going out and doing the new stuff. You're stuck.
You're stuck,
doing
yeah.
the old stuff.
I do have an odd question. Is what was the point of the schoolgirl? Because there doesn't seem like there was a point of it. So
Just
I
to
was
show the lack of
wondering, was there a point in
judgment.
the book?
Yeah, well, the schoolgirl was. I mean, very good point. I mean, it was more of a lack of judgment. He basically, it kind of shows you the stupid shit you do when you know.
Yeah.
You're
Sort
like,
of the
oh,
snowball
crap.
effect of the
And-
kind of shit you can get yourself
Yeah.
into.
Right, but I thought it was very clever because she was like, oh, you're gonna see me again. Like,
blackmail them.
you don't have
Well,
a choice.
one of my favorite parts in the movie was he's at the bar and he's just going up to all the chicks and getting immediately shot down. And then he sees this chick from across the bar and like totally blowing off the guy,
Right.
no words, just takes his drink like, hey, I'll buy you a drink, and she takes it, drinks hers, drinks his, and then just brushes him off. And then the narrating Ewan McGregor says, and with that he fell in love.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I love that scene.
I loved her parents. Saying, "Are you her?" He said, "Are you her flatmate?" It's like, well, that's
Yeah.
a new one.
that's a new one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So apparently she takes a stranger's home all the time.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was kind of strange that the parents had like no reaction except for, "You want a biscuit?" Type thing.
Yeah,
Like, come and sit down and have breakfast with us.
Hi.
And he's so fucking dumb, he sits down and has a biscuit.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, really?
I loved Begbie. Begbie was just
Okay,
He
yeah,
was
see,
actually
okay,
one of
this
my
is-
favorite
I was
off
upcoming
the
actors.
wall.
Which one was he?
He was the one that would
Robert
just flip
Carlyle.
out.
Robert Carlyle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The what did you say to me? When
Yeah.
he throws the glass.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
actually turned his career and has gotten some really good roles after this.
Oh no, the guy's
Really? 'Cause
talented.
I was going to say he kind of did a couple of shitty things,
Oh,
and
yeah,
I was
he did.
surprised on where he ended up versus Johnny Lee Miller the year before this, doing one of the worst performances he's ever turned in.
Yeah, but if you
with
look
hackers.
Actually,
Yeah.
for what that movie was written, he did a pretty good job for such a poorly
Oh,
written
dude,
movie.
it was fucking terrible. It was, as far as like the performances, I mean, product of the times and otherwise.
But I have
Yeah.
actually liked some of the newer roles that I've seen him do in like the past 10 years, is what I mean.
But Johnny Lee Miller.
I haven't seen
the
Robert
Robert
Carlyle do
Carlyle.
much in.
Go check
Oh,
out
wow.
Once Upon a Time.
Oh yeah,
The
that
TV show. He
show.
does a great job in that role that he's given.
Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
The
plays
most-
a really good bipolar character.
He does.
See, the most interesting about this is how in a cast of degenerates, the least degenerate is Ian McGregor, and he's probably the worst one out of all of them. But he seems to be the nicer character, which is funny.
Yeah.
Well,
Except
what's
for-
his name? Tommy was the best one out of them all, and then Ewan McGregor fucked that up. So I don't know if we could call Ewan McGregor the best one out of them all.
I don't know. I like Ewan Brenner. Bremner.
Well,
I
the
like
reason-
Sick Boy or the
Spud.
What's it? Spud.
Spud.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Well,
he-
I think the reason why he's a better person because he was legitimately trying to get out of it, even though his first reaction seeing the dead baby was, "I'm taking a hit."
yeah. If you see.
Well, no, there's that line.
It's a coping mechanism.
Says
Oh,
a
yeah,
lot.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's exactly what would have happened.
And that's exactly what happened in the mall.
Exactly what would have happened.
Yeah,
it would have
it
been
is.
like, oh shit, I gotta be high. I can't deal with this. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And
for all the tongue in cheek that goes on in this movie, the whole thing is just like unflinching as far as its look at the lifestyle of habitual, heroin junkies.
Yeah.
Well, I love the
totally.
poeticness of this movie. I mean, like I said, the dialogue and the narration in this.
Yeah.
Right.
is
Well,
Give
see,
it
that's
to
the
you.
thing
On
is
key to me.
junkies are very, poetic most of the time.
Yeah.
That's a pretty passionate bunch of people. They just do heroin a lot.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, the narration is becoming rare these days. You don't see too many narrations like that, especially when it's a first-person narration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one
Right.
of the things I was going to mention is, as far as this movie in comparison to Requiem, I think Requiem is more of a warning than this one. This one is a little
Oh,
bit-
absolutely.
No warning at
yeah.
all.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, this is not a warning at all. This is just showing you a glimpse at, as Ryan's mentioned and
It's
Jeff
like-
mentioned.
It's more of a
Life.
coming of age
Yeah.
tale,
Yeah.
if anything, for this guy.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know. I'd say it's kind of more of a slice of life, where Requiem was more
Right.
shocking in your face. This is more like, well, this is what you're going to be if you're going to be a drug dealer.
And you know,
a user, deal
right.
with it.
And that 16,000 pounds that they got, that was only 25 grand in
Yeah.
American.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's really it. It's like, really? You did all that for 25 grand and then you flew out here and
Well, actually,
really, what are you going to do with it?
Well, actually, in today's money, it would be a lot less. It'd be probably, you know,
No, that
14
isn't
or
today's
10.
money. It's
Yeah.
only 25 grand. So back then it was only around maybe, 30? Under 30?
Oh, one more point though with the whole baby thing. I think it all ties in, or how you were saying his first reaction was to take a hit. I think a lot of it has to do with even in the beginning of the movie, with the narration. I love the narration in the beginning of the movie.
The whole intro.
Best opening ever.
Fucking A.
With
I don't know if I would.
you know,
agree with
choose
that.
life, choose family, choose a
Yeah.
career, and then it goes to the point where he goes, I chose not to choose life. I chose, and the reasons, there are no reasons.
Yeah.
Who needs reason when you got heroin?
Yeah, I
and
did
it
like
was just
that.
like,
It was just-
boom, that sets up the scene of, okay, well, this guy hates life, and heroin is how he copes.
I have to say though that I love that opening. For me, it still doesn't beat the Reservoir Dogs opening. The table scene.
Really?
I love that. It's.
It
Yeah,
was
I-
a
you know,
good one, but I
well,
didn't think it was epic.
As far as monologues go, you know what
Monologue,
I'm saying?
thank
Like
you, yeah.
the opening scene of Reservoir Dogs was a group, you know, kind
Yeah, that
of
was a
dialogue
group discussion. This
situation.
is
Yeah.
a monologue, yeah. Yeah,
Both
I
great
agree.
dialogue, but just the monologue of Ewan McGregor pulling that off, you know, in the beginning.
Yeah,
that
I would
was-
say
that was
this is
awesome.
almost as good of a monologue as Edward Norton's in 25th Hour.
I knew you were
to the
going to say
mirror.
that, and yeah, almost.
Because I watched it with Ryan like the first time we saw it, and then it was just a
Yeah.
mind-blowing
I don't think I've seen
monologue. That's the only good part of the movie.
I do think over Reservoir Dogs though, this is the first time in a long time I've seen a narration that literally sets the entire movie. That beginning thing is basically the whole. Basically saying the entire movie within a couple of
Yeah,
minutes
and
span.
very poetic when he capped it off at the same thing at the
Yeah.
end, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty good. I mean, if you reflect back on it, you don't see too many narrations that spoil the entire movie, but you don't get it.
Yeah, well, a lot of opening sequences do that, but just in a less clever way.
There is one scene that I absolutely love in this film, though. It's when, and it speaks for like kind of our generation, and I'm sure every other generation, but where they're in the club, the guy, he's bitching about losing out on the Iggy Pop and all that. And then all of a sudden, the girls come back from the bathroom, and the guys stand there, and they're like, "What are you two talking about?" And they're
Football?
like, "Football. What are you two talking about?" And they're like, "Shopping."
Shopping.
And it's just like, that fucking sets it right there. That's awesome.
I got to see though that scene with. I thought the only warning in this was it Tommy. Was
Okay,
the
yeah.
guy
Yeah.
who died? I think that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the only
Yeah.
warning in this entire movie.
Killed
was
by a
kind
kitten.
And you know
no,
what?
no,
I don't
no,
think it was.
The only reason I think it was a
Death by
warning
kitty.
is because I think it was a warning about who you choose to be around with.
Yeah,
More than
no.
anything.
I agree with you on that. The only reason I would say I don't think it's a warning, I think it's more of a product of
Situational.
what do you call that? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Or a
it was all
product of
just situational.
situation.
The shit that
Yeah.
happens amongst, you know, junkies.
Yeah. Well, I would also say the biggest warning was when he moved to London and everybody came and found him
Yeah.
and started using him. That's more of a warning than anything else.
I love
You
this-
can't get away from these mates.
I love the ending scene though. After he took off and that guy is destroying the room and the cops come in, you know, it's like, ooh, this guy's going to do 30, 40 years in
Right.
jail.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they still have.
They
a
were already
murder-
looking for him
they
anyway
have
from the-
murder on him and other things.
So I thought that was hilarious.
Anyway, yeah.
Okay, so Johnny, it sounds like you definitely liked this movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounded like you actually
Um,
enjoyed it.
Overall, it wasn't too bad. I think this was.
You don't want to like it, but you did.
Well,
Right,
well,
that's
this is
exactly
more-
what's happening here.
well, this
He's
is
2
more
days
s-
from now, he's going to be like, fuck, that movie was good.
Well,
Yeah,
this is
damn
more
it.
slice of life, far as than the shocking of what Requiem for a Dream was. So I liked this more because it was more like, you know, just
Don't
a
compare
life-
this to
No,
Requiem.
you can't, because one was a story, the other one
These are
was a
completely
major
different
warning.
films with
Well, not-
completely different meanings.
Yes and no. It's-
Just because they both had drugs in them, that's
Well,
the only
well,
thing
that's
that
the
ties those
major-
two together.
Well, that's it. That's the major arcing thing where one is more of a this is why you don't do it, and this is the life of a bunch of users. It's the only way you can.
But it is
continue.
apples and oranges,
take the
though.
Oh,
film.
yeah, it totally is.
Take
Yeah.
the film itself, not comparing it to anything else, and tell me, did you like it?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Well, fine.
I mean, you can't really compare Half Baked to like these movies or any of the Cheech and Chong.
I was just about to say,
You know?
that's like a non-answer.
Well, this is the only way you compare, because if you're going to pair like Cheech and Chong and those which are comedies, and Requiem for a Dream and this, which are a more realistic, stylized drug movies. If you're going to go that far,
Did you ever see Lesson Zero with Robert Downey Jr.?
it's been a while.
Compare the two.
It's been a long while since I've seen it. I don't know.
I get your point, Jeff.
Let's just put it this way. On the rating scale, what would you give it?
This movie.
That's what it's going to boil down to.
Well,
yeah.
this movie, I give it a 3 out of 5. I mean, it's well done. It's not my favorite movie I've ever seen, but it's not shocking. It's more of a warning in some ways that choose to who you be around, choose who your influences are, and don't sleep with underage girls.
See, I don't think any of this. I mean, I personally, I should say, in my opinion, don't think any of this movie was a warning at all.
I agree.
I think it's more of like if you got a group of friends that are growing up doing stupid shit, regardless of what they're doing. They're growing up, and it's just kind of showing how they grow and even separate from each other. And
it's a story.
Exactly. It's more of a coming of age, if anything, than a warning.
I don't see the coming of age. I
agree with Jeff, though. Hold on. Let me put it a different way for you. The way that I would say, because I kind of agree with Jeff in that, is that Ewan McGregor's character is growing up. He's maturing to the point that he doesn't want to do this anymore. That's what kind of like the first 10 minutes of the film.
He's pulling his head out of his ass, yeah.
And so he's trying to do that, but his friends are still stuck there, and he's broken in the fact of, do I leave my friends? Do I try to bring them along? And then as he does that, you see all the shenanigans happening of trying to get away from his friends, but not being able to. And then at the end, he does it, just kind of rips them off and takes off. And he said that he didn't feel bad about any of his other mates
except for
Spud, who was actually trying.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said,
Spud, he just knew Spud.
Spud
never
wasn't
hurt
trying.
nobody.
Spud was just a good guy.
Yeah, Spud was just a good guy. Anyways, yeah, but that's really what I see this movie as, not as a warning, but just as telling a story of a man trying to get away from his past.
No, I completely agree with you. And the
does
warning.
That make sense, Jeff?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I agree with you. Warning part is just reading a little more into it than it should.
Exactly.
But I do think, as far as if life lessons in a movie, it has a decent lesson if you really, want to overanalyze it.
Okay.
Okay.
So 3 out of 5.
Yeah, 3 out of 5.
Okay.
What about you, Ryan?
I effing love this movie. I haven't seen this in a few years, and I was wondering if I was going to think it was dated when I saw it again, and no, I didn't. I had just as much fun watching this as I did the last time. That being said, if I felt it was reading too much into it or anything, I'd feel like it was almost like, hey, look how much fun heroin is.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, I love the Mother Superior character.
Oh yeah, he was great, wasn't he?
Dragging him down a flight of stairs. I don't want him to get caught.
he waited for him till the taxi got there.
And you could tell too, because he was
threw him in
like
the taxi.
shaking his head like, oh God, he didn't want to do
Right.
it. Otherwise he would have just kicked him out of the house, and like rolled him down the stairs or something. And, like,
Throw him out the window.
He wanted his money back. That's it.
No, because he even paid
I
the
know.
cab fare. Remember
Yeah.
that?
Well, yeah, but you remember his tab was full.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so what do you rate it?
So yeah. That all being said, I mean, this is the movie that when Slumdog Millionaire came out, everybody was like, "Oh, this movie's gonna be great," because he was the guy that did Trainspotting.
And I like.
Yeah, total 4 out of 5, solid, like all day to this, forever.
Awesome.
This movie totally holds up.
What about you, Jeff?
Me, I'm definitely. This is one of the rare ones for me that I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 because
Wow.
it's one of my favorite films. It really is.
Wow.
I think that personally, it's poetic. It's like I said, the dialogue and the conversations, everything with the points they're making is just so artistically planned out that like you can actually look at this film and find more meaning in it as opposed to just watching it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what about you, James?
I'd give it a 4 out of 5. I think it's not one of my favorite films type as Ryan is, but it's up there. It's up there with one of the movies that I actually I don't watch it very often.
Right.
I haven't seen it since it probably
Well, that
came
you
out
have
on
kids, so you
on DVD.
can't-
Yeah, so that's
yeah.
something
I don't
just
know.
pop on
Is
and
this
say,
a
"Hey,
movie-
sit down and watch."
Is this a movie that you could watch all the time, though? I'm not sure if this movie you could do that with.
Well, for me, I can because it's one of my favorites.
I was
Like
gonna
I've
say-
watched this. I can rehearse the whole. I can
Maybe a year or two.
I can lay out the
once every
dialogue on
year or
this
two.
damn movie.
It's definitely a repeat watch, but I don't know. I have to space it out every now and again to almost like when by the time that I watch it again, it's like, oh, I remember why I love this movie. You know?
Well, I mean, could you watch it like, say if you're bored, so you watch it twice a week? Could you do that type of thing?
It'd be one of those movies. If a friend of mine told me, oh shit, I haven't seen that, I'd be like, let's watch that
Let's
right
watch
now.
it right now. Yeah.
You know.
No, that makes sense. So coming up, the movie news portion of the show, and it's Jeff Michaels' turn. So
Yes,
Jeffrey.
it is. Part of it was going to be porno, which is coming out, which is going to be the sequel to
It's
Trainspotting.
the same director. I was also going to the director. Don't get mad.
same characters or different?
To my knowledge, they're trying to keep it as original as they could with the same characters, but I don't think other people are signing on for it.
I hope Johnny,
Really?
as long as Ian McGregor and Johnny Lee Miller do it, I think those, to me, I'd be happy.
Right?
And
yeah,
the-
those
and-
are the two that they would
and the
have to
crazy
get.
guy.
I know Johnny Lee Miller's probably pretty down to do it. I mean, that movie launched his career pretty much.
Right.
And I forgot, I can never
Spud.
remember his
the guy
name.
that played Spud has to be in it.
The crazy guy.
What
guy-
they do
I wanna
is
see him.
with this
Carlo?
one is they have a with the money from their scam, they open up with this they start making porno. And it doesn't go so well.
So Ian McGregor opens a porno because he's the one that ends up with all the money.
I think it's more Spud and Sick Boy in this one, actually.
Well, Spud only got a 2,000 pounds.
I thought he got 4.
Yeah, I know, but
No,
this
they were
is-
bundles of 2,000 pounds. I thought he only put
okay.
one in the case.
Yeah, it was
didn't
$2,000.
It was
Yeah.
$2,000. Yeah.
That's a cheap porno.
That and the one
Well,
other
how
thing-
expensive do you need your porn?
right?
Well,
I
I
had-
mean, if
you're
you go for
asking the wrong
midgets, they're
guy
only
on that
half.
Oh, jeez. Miniature scale.
the one thing I am happy
Try
about,
not to laugh.
the one thing I am
Miniature
happy
scale.
about though is they moved. Is Michael Bay has decided to halt coming out with teenage
For a second time.
Ninja
No, this is like
Turtles.
the
I'm
10th
sorry.
time, I
He's
think.
pushed it back to the 2014 so far.
I never.
It's because people hate you
I'd never thought.
for doing that.
I
Just
never
give it the
thought-
Shamalala Ding Dong.
It's a
People will
terrible
kill you.
idea,
I never thought I'd be happy for development hell.
right? It's a
Hold on a
terrible
second.
idea.
I can't. Oh, God damn it! If I have to,
And he's
fucking
wearing the
do this one more
appropriate shirt.
time, it's not a bad idea.
What?
It's not a bad idea.
To
Blasphemy!
ruin the Ninja Turtles?
How is it being ruined?
Okay, first
Because
off,
it's Michael Bay.
It's
Name a
Michael
movie
Bay.
he's
Thank
ever
you.
done
Aside
that's
from
good.
that, okay, but
Okay.
take Michael Bay out of the equation.
here's how they're ruining it. They're no longer like the original story that we know from the Turtles is that they were flushed down a toilet, got in some ooze, and a rat raised them, and they all had pizza parties and kicked ass, right?
Right.
Okay.
Welcome
Well,
to the 90s.
In Michael Bay's version of it, they are aliens.
With Colonel
They're
Schroeder.
not aliens.
He,
Okay, the turtles are still Earth turtles. Okay,
They've changed it since
the
first one.
aliens is
Oh,
the
have they?
Krang, who come down with whatever kind of fucking mutagen
See, now
power
they're
that's gonna
changing
turn
it.
Earth
still
Earth
hear you.
turtles into
I can still
mutant
hear
turtles.
you. How are you talking that loud?
Well, you know what? Then they've changed it since then because originally the turtles were going to be just
Yeah.
aliens.
Originally, they were going to
Yeah,
be aliens.
originally, but then they said no, the aliens is the Krang, and then
Yeah.
that they're still going to be Earth turtles.
Well, what it originally was going to be, it was going to be Earth Turtles, and the Foot was a small military unit run
yeah.
by a Colonel Schroeder.
Schroeder.
And then so many people were mad, except, by the way, the creators of the Ninja Turtles were actually fine with it.
They were for it. Yeah.
I'm
and
fine
then,
with that.
and then they changed it because it would have lost money because nobody would have seen it. And then
I
'cause
would have seen it.
there were a lot of people so pissed off that they probably would have been a losing proposition.
Well,
Whether it
because
was
they
good or
heard
bad.
aliens, and then but the idea is you still have to call it Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No,
You know
they're
what I mean?
calling it Ninja Turtles.
Is he done?
No.
Oh, he's still going. Okay.
They're calling it straight Ninja Turtles.
Well, honestly, you don't need Teenage Mutant
Yes, you
Turtles.
do.
Yeah,
Not
not necessarily.
really. Because at this point, everybody has seen the movie and knows enough about it. You could call it Teenage Turtles or Teenage Ninja
Touched
Turtles,
my eyeball with it.
and everybody kind of gets the gist of it. So, do you have any other news?
Other than the fact that I know.
See, look, okay,
you're
Teenage
not a fan,
Mutant Ninja
but-
Turtles 2014, aliens invade Earth and inadvertently spawn a quartet of mutated reptilian warriors.
That's hilarious. Oh, okay, so
I don't know.
that's actually an interesting way to do it. So the source is from the ooze is from aliens. That's actually that
Thank
would
you.
fit, because according to the original
Thank
canon,
you.
if I remember correctly, Krang was the one who invented the mutagen.
Yeah, right.
So that actually makes sense.
Yeah, the only other thing was I know you're not a fan, but I can't wait till December. New Anchorman coming out. I want to see it.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
Yes.
I can't wait, dude. You and me, buddy.
You know what? Did you know that Anchorman, they actually had a complete second movie? If you look up on YouTube.
Yeah, just from the outtakes or
Yeah,
the
just
extra
from the
footage.
outtakes. And it's actually a completely separate storyline, too, with different characters in it.
So funny, dude.
It is. It's
I
pretty
guess this is
funny.
what happens when you have such a bad movie. You just have to keep shooting it till you get a good
I'm
one.
not going to keep defending it.
No.
You know,
I've said
I was
my
going to say
piece.
the same thing.
Yep. Ryan, I'm with
He
you.
sucks so bad.
I've said my piece, but that's why I had to bring it up.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, bud.
So, ladies and gentlemen, next week is our theater pick, and we're going to see the new Sandra Bullock movie Gravity that came out last week, I believe. So that's next week pick.
It looks like Jeff's going to phone it in.
Wow.
I thought that was our closing outro music.
So since we have a few minutes of leftover time, I'm going to try something we don't do anymore. How about a little prediction about what this movie is going to be about?
Wait, Gravity?
Gravity?
Yeah.
Gravity?
It's about her
open water
floating
in
out in
space.
space.
I think it's going to be the Earth's gravitational pull that they're trying to stay away from.
And
It's going to be
So that they
open
don't
water
come down and
in
burn in the
space.
atmosphere until they're dead.
are we going to see Sandra Bullock become a crispy critter?
No, this is open
No.
water in space. You're
Thank
gonna
you.
watch the goddamn shark circle for like an hour and a half, and then they're just gonna disappear. No blood.
Wait,
It's
so
gonna
wait,
suck.
we're
And
gonna
he's
space
not being
sharks?
facetious. He literally
Yes.
means space sharks will be floating around them
Yes.
outside of
Hey,
the
just
shuttle.
like Sharknado
And Sandra Bullock will be having space sex. It will be amazing.
with sharks.
Yeah.
Yes. I
Does
just
that
made a new
satisfy
movie.
everybody's prediction? I'm cool with that.
I just made a new movie.
Ladies and
She should
gentlemen,
have brought a net.
ladies and gentlemen, the movie's now NC-17.
Right.
Apparently. So we're going to have to see it at midnight, but behind a black curtain.
The role Sandra Bullock was born to play.
Space sex with sharks.
Oh, wow.
sequel to Sharknado.
My prediction is I give it a 2.
Okay.
I'm predicting I'm gonna kind of dig this one.
You're going to give it a 10?
Yes.
I'm actually thinking this is going to be a 3 out of
Jerk.
5 for me.
I think it's going to be a 2 for me.
What about you, Jeff? What do you think?
He thinks he's texting.
Let's see how close we are to how we
Stop
see after the movie.
sexting.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be a 2 or a 3.
Okay.
I
Ryan,
don't
Ryan
think I'm
says a
gonna enjoy
5.
it too much.
Ryan, what about you?
I'm hoping 3 or 4, but we'll see. I try not to have any preconceived notions with things like this.
I say deuces.
So 3 or 4, okay. So I'm writing you and Jeff down for 4s. Me, James a 2, and myself
Jeff said
a 3.
like a 2.
I said a 2.
You said 3 or 4. I
No,
thought.
he didn't. He said
No.
like a 2.
Okay, 2.
He's putting our score
Oh,
together
and this
and
was
giving it
to
to
clarify. I gave.
you did this in the last show too.
Never mind.
Yeah. So it's a little late. Shut up.
I win. Yes, winning. Charlie Sheen.
Jeez.
Charlie Sheen winning.
Sheen.
So, ladies
Winning.
and gentlemen,
Warlock.
I want to remind you
Tiger's
that we
blood.
do have a Facebook page. So do us a favor, drop us a line, tell us what you think about any reviews are done, any reviews we've done, and also do us a favor. If there's a movie that you want us to review, let us know and we'll do it for you. And I was going to tell you, I gave the movie Trainspotting a 3. James gave it a 4. Ryan gave it a 4. Jeff gave it the rare 5 out of 5. Next week is the movie
Especially
Gravity,
for Jeff.
and we'll see you next week.